Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello and thank you for watching.
And Will, I'm sorry to hear that you have IBS.
Itchy bum syndrome.
Is that what you meant when you wrote IBS?
I didn't. So you've got to tell people what happened. We started this conversation and I said we must stop it.
Okay.
We must stop it and talk about it on the podcast.
Right.
But the problem is that in between us doing that, then we had, not a problem. We had some ads.
So good.
We recorded some ads. We did some promos.
Yep.
And then now we're back to
the regular nonsense.
This thing that I just said, stop, we've got to talk on the podcast. It was quite a weird way to go, pause that conversation. Yeah. Let's just do some plugs. And now
we're back to the conversation. Yep. So look, the long and the short of this story is, ordinarily we'll text each other on the way into the studio. And
Can I just say this, by the way,
what?
And this conversation more than any other will absolutely prove this to be the point. But some of the promos we were doing were for like, this network, Everyone Relax, and the shows on it, and they were not written by us. And it's a real insight in how the world views your work. When they're like, philosophy, which we kind of get, it's interviews, like with people, and like Two Guys, One Cup. I guess that's like a
footy
sport adjacent sort of thing.
Footy
we
comedy.
Understand that, and then.
Whatever that is.
What the fuck is like that other thing that they do? What is it? How do we classify it? What do we tell people? We've probably got laws around advertising and radio and what we can say things are. What is it?
Bizarre tangents.
It's been on a long time. Ugh.
Surreal comedy. We're just talking about our lives.
Yeah.
How is that surreal?
I
mean, this is the billion-dollar question. But
not for us, it isn't.
Not for us. The fact that I think in one of the promos it was like we're the longest running podcast.
Yeah.
That is a damning with faint praise.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're the old guy who won't leave the party.
Like just because you've been around the longest. I mean, in some context, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Like one of Melbourne's oldest restaurants, one of their finest institutions.
If we were in a culture that respected
its elders,
Asian
we should be put in a nursing home for podcasters.
Yeah.
I mean, that can't be far off, right?
I mean, they have like themed cruises, right? You can go on a podcast cruise. Somebody was pitching that to me as an idea recently, saying, what about like, us, the dollop, like, like in the old days of the LA Podcast Festival where they were sort of all podcasts that you could see a connection line through. So-and-so had appeared on so-and-so's and everybody kind of were guests on
it's
each
a shared
other's.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you could just do that, at sea, so you can also have like, monkey knife fights or whatever. And
yes, of course.
I don't really know the rules of the ocean. I learned most of this from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So, but the idea that you can do these themed ones, or they'll do like a Weezer cruise or whatever, and it's like you go and be amongst your people. We could do, and like retirees are the sort of people who have money, they have disposable income. Maybe that is where we should be pivoting the audience, these live podcast cruise. Could we become cruise podcasters in the same way as comedians become like cruise comedians and supplement their income by going on the cruises?
Yeah.
Like, is there a world in which we could lean into the fact that our audience is aging with us and we could like, you know what? You liked TOFOP when you were a kid, but now you got kids of your own. Come and see a live show.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, I'd love that. Apart from I'm deathly afraid of being on the open ocean.
Oh, yeah, okay. That would, but that'd, I think, lend an edge to it. It'd give it a vibe.
Constantly in a state of fear, or just I'll just be on so many kind of like relaxants that
I think both of those things combined will be the perfect combination for podcasting.
It is a weird thing, though. My fear of the ocean. I've worked out that I have I don't know if it's by a clinical definition of a phobia.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But just by looking at YouTube, I've found out that I have a fear of enormous objects, like really big things. I don't know, James, maybe you can look it up. What's the fear of large things? So I started looking, I was watching a lot of YouTube space videos about like, astronomy and stuff like that. And there was one that I watched that just sort of was like a scale of our solar system, the universe, where Earth fits in terms of the size of the actual solar system, and sort of just realizing how tiny and insignificant we are. Then it started doing other comparisons like...
Firstly, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not, because I had a real visceral reaction
A real moment of understanding how small we are in the vast expanse of the universe, or how big the universe is in relation to you.
Yeah, cosmic horror, right? Like that's a genre. So that's one thing. But then there's the actual genuine size of things. So in the same, I think it's the same YouTube channel, it was like, this is the size of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. And it starts with like, it's Manhattan, right? Yeah. And then it pulls out from Manhattan, and then it cranes up, and then you see this giant asteroid that's about like 20 times the size of Manhattan coming down on like the Empire State Building. And it filled me with such anxiety that like there are enormous objects.
But is that not the perfect size for an asteroid to be if it is going to hit Earth? Because like you may as well
get wiped out.
Yeah. An ant isn't scared of a giant
of a shoe.
Right? It's too big for the ant to comprehend as being a big thing.
Yeah.
So I think that size of a thing isn't as terrifying as something that maybe is in between that size of a thing and like,
well, that's what
where's your level of like,
well, it comes back
how big does something have to be for you to be afraid of it?
Well, that's why I think it comes back
just bigger than you
to the ocean.
6'2".
It's just that it's when I can't see around it. It's like when you're in the middle of the ocean.
Okay.
Like, Jem's dad's a sailor. I've been out on his boat, and sometimes you'll just get out and you look around and there's just nothing. It's just literally a vast.
But you've been in the desert as well, right?
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Okay.
But at least in the desert, I'm aware of like the ground is solid. I can see what's around me. I can see to a certain distance. But when you're looking at the ocean, you have no idea what's underneath you.
I'm the same, Charlie. It's frightening. I don't like the open ocean either.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Are you also scared of giant asteroids?
No, I don't have megalophobia.
Oh, megalophobia. Yeah, that's what I have.
Which
Megalophobia.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. The idea of a tidal wave scares the shit out of me.
That is quite scary, I got to say. Yeah.
Well, the idea of it, or just the...
Like, if I look at images, like, AI or computer-generated images of this is what the size of the tidal wave that blah, blah, blah.
But why would you look at that?
I don't know. I think it's sort of like
I'm not looking at that.
When you've got an ulcer in your gum and you press it because like it's terrifying.
But it's not an ulcer in your gum. An ulcer in your gum is in your gum. It's hard not to press it. You're going out of your own way to Google these videos of these AI recreations of tidal waves.
I think it is the same thinking behind an algorithm that will feed you rage bait. Like there is an adrenaline rush when you are scared, right? And so
the irony is that you don't like the ocean, but you've taken the bait.
Yes, exactly. But I just started looking at more, like, because you can literally Google megalophobic videos.
But why would you do that?
Because I need to, like, feel that fear. I know.
Actually don't.
But then I start thinking about it.
And just
but it's exposure therapy.
Nah.
Look at the thing that kind of upsets you.
Nah.
It worked with spiders. I used to hate spiders, then moved to the Northern Rivers.
Yeah.
Like, spiders everywhere. And now I'm actually pretty okay with spiders because I have to catch them all the time and release them.
Oh, yeah, but that's practicality.
Yeah.
That's like adapting to your environment.
But if the giant asteroid...
It's in the same way as, like, I don't go around picking up random dog shit, like, when I don't have a dog, right? Yeah. But, like, when you have a dog...
The fresher the better, was my saying.
When you have a dog, you're like, of course I will pick up that dog shit. I have a dog.
Yeah.
But it's not like that's my passion outside my own dog. And it's the same with spiders. You only need to be cool with spiders if you are in an environment where there are spiders, and then you have to work out what your relationship with spiders are. But you're not in you're in an environment where there's going to be a tidal wave. So what are you worrying about this tidal wave?
I don't know. I think it's just finding out more about myself, because
if you move to somewhere that like is susceptible to tidal waves, then absolutely get across tidal waves, and you might need exposure therapy. Although again, unlike a spider, I think tidal waves are not a thing that you can just not believe in and stop the power of them.
Well, it's not just like I think it's more of a, I guess, like a philosophical or a philosophical question.
You can't say that, only I can.
Like in some of these videos, like they'll just do like planet comparisons. Like this is how much bigger Jupiter is than, like there's one that, I can't remember what the video is called, but it's like, what is the biggest planet we know of and how big is it? And when you see that next to Earth, it's like, oh my God! For some reason, it gives me real anxiety.
Why?
I don't know.
It's just because it's big.
I guess it is the kind of existential sort of crisis
But
of
what is it? What is that crisis? What about it scares you? To me, that feels like a thing that is so beyond our imagination and control that I'm scared of just the car that nearly cut me off on the way to work today, or the guy who looked like he was on ice who was a bit edgy. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Need to be worried about this asteroid.
If I occupy, maybe that's the answer. Maybe if I'm occupying myself with this stuff that has zero bearing on my life, it means I don't have to worry about the actual real issues. Okay. The real demons in my life. You know
if
what I
I
mean?
concentrate on the asteroids, I don't have to worry about my hemorrhoids.
Yeah. It's like the old saying goes. I believe it was Abraham Lincoln who once said, I think there might be an element of that. I do think, and it's only with the advent of the internet. If this information would not have been delivered to me, because then you look at one megalophobic video and suddenly, you think asteroids are scary. Did you know how big sea creatures used to get back in the day? Right. Do you know what it's like to be eaten by a giant shark?
That? Why do you need to know how big giant sharks were?
I don't know.
Other than to what?
Give me anxiety.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's like somebody who has 9 coffees a day going, I can't sleep very well. I don't understand why.
I also can't sleep very well. Did you know that that guy, Silicon Valley guy, Brian Johnson, the one who's trying to extend his life? You heard about this dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's hard not to hear about him.
He's everywhere.
Constantly.
I think we've talked about him on this show before.
Probably.
So he's been doing a lot of psychedelics. That's his latest thing is what are the benefits of magic mushrooms and stuff.
That does tend to be the way that these things go.
Is it?
Well, have you noticed that the kind of advanced life bro culture?
Once you've kind of got money taken care of, then you start going into...
start doing DMT.
Yeah, and ayahuasca.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But
that feels like a pretty... and I understand that I have been guilty of this myself, but has anyone ever taken those drugs and just kept it to themselves? Has anyone ever had a revelation about the world that they didn't need to share with the fucking world?
Well, that I don't even know because Gemma's way into his she follows him and she's way into what he's doing. And
what's the appeal to her? Do you think?
I think she's just getting more health conscious. She's had she's had health issues with not major ones, but just with her gut and stuff. And she's been trying to clean up her diet and I think it's the opposite of me. Whereas I'm looking
I can help her with that because I've got IBS.
Whereas I'm looking at what giant asteroids are going to hit the Earth. She's like, well, what microplastics could give me cancer? What should I be avoiding eating?
Yeah.
What are some healthy things I can employ in my life now? Mm-hmm. So the one thing he said out of all the nutrition stuff he's done, which I am bad at, is sleep. He's saying 8 hours of sleep, it has the most benefit, the most preventative measures for things like dementia and Alzheimer's and all these kind of things. Yeah. And it's I don't know how to get back to that. I find it very hard to go to sleep. I find it very hard to even getting to sleep before midnight for me is a challenge. And I've tried going to bed early. I've tried no devices, all that kind of stuff, but I just can't. I think I'm wired to be awake at night.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that is the case.
But then I'm up thinking about giant asteroids and prehistoric creatures that I could fit inside. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think I'm flipping
I feel like
out.
you shouldn't be filling your brain or your...
Oh, most of the time I'm doing something productive.
I
but
understand,
then the last 45 minutes before I go to bed, I'm like, what can kill me?
What can I,
or what could have killed me?
What can I fill my brain with?
What nightmarish visions? And you know what's even funny? Because I've been doing sleep stories and I've started listening to horror sleep stories.
I just feel like there's been a real documentary style recordings of your progression from being able to sleep to not being able to sleep to all the things that you do in order to be able to sleep. You're thinking about sleep too much. And I understand that not being able to sleep, particularly as a parent, is absolutely a huge challenge.
Not an issue, really. Iona's always been a good sleeper, and she'll sleep most nights a good 9 to 10 hours, which is good for a 6-year-old. And she's not up super early. Maybe 6:30 is the earliest she gets up. So it's not. That's not the problem. It's me getting to bed early enough and then sleeping and having a sleep that's not filled with nightmarish visions.
Yes. And do you think there's any correlation to you listening to horror stories when you go to bed?
Well, I've tried
to
everything.
Explain why you might be having nightmares?
Well, no, I actually find them kind of. Like, again, I think it's this weird thing. It's like it's not always horror stories I'm listening to, but like there is, sometimes I'll put on like a factual like documentaries to listen to, or sometimes it'll be just like a podcast, people talking, and then other times it'll be like horrific. Horrific stories. None of them seem to have any more effect than the other. It is just like...
And you just can't listen to nothing.
Oh, I can. I have. But that doesn't seem to fix anything either. So I don't know. Like, I think I need to see like a sleep therapist or someone.
What? Yeah, I mean, that's okay, of course. Like, if you can't help... It just feels like in our modern day society, we've come up with all these ways... this is how good I am at sleeping, though. Like I have been having these coffee lollies called Copico lollies.
Oh yeah, another one.
And I didn't know they had caffeine in them. And this actually links back into where this conversation started in the first place, because I would often have them at night and whatever, and still sleep. And like I only discovered recently.
Your poor heart.
Yeah, right. Like it's fine. So. I am at that point where I should be like wearing my glasses more often, and I should not be trusted to send a text without me having my glasses on, because I assume that predictive text will do most of the work for me. So when I messaged you this morning, I did not mean to message you.
Well, the exact message
was
I said, in the lobby, want a coffee?
Yeah.
You wrote, I have IBS, thank you, which I thought was an odd message. So I just gave you a thumbs down because I didn't know how to respond, because it was such a lot of I don't know why you felt the need to tell me that you have IBS, but the fact that you thanked me at the end was very confusing. What did you intend to write? I have one. Thank you.
I have one. Thank you. I don't know why my phone thinks that IBS is a better. Maybe my phone's like it's the algorithm and it's seen the rest of my choices on my life, and it said, "Well, what he's clearly meaning to message here is I have IBS." He's gone with "I have one," but what he actually means is I have IBS,
because it's actually like a perfectly reasonable response to not wanting a coffee. I can't because I've got. But I was thinking, like, because I was chatting to Rosie, she was in the cafe as well, and she said, "Oh, Will's just done our show," and I was this close to me talk about his IBS. I really should have, but I didn't know if I should be sharing your medical information.
Well, you shouldn't, particularly because I don't have IBS. No shade on anyone who's dealing with IBS. It's a terrible thing to be dealing with, but no, I don't.
Well, I'm really glad to hear. You don't have
a speedy recovery.
You don't have IBS.
No.
I had an interesting conversation with someone a few nights ago, speaking about like anxiety and weird things. Can we do like a mini unexplained explained? It's sort of in those areas, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And this only ever happens when I go to filmmaking conferences in the Northern Rivers. Remember the last time I went and I met that guy who cured cancer with the power of his mind and met himself in a dream and all that kind of stuff. So I go to this filmmakers conference and get chatting to this writer, and she's just telling me about a couple of scripts she's working on and blah blah blah, and it's all pretty normal. I don't know how we get on to. Oh no, one of her stories is about like life after death or whatever, and then I was like, oh yeah, and so we started talking. I said I've lost both my parents and blah blah blah, and then she's gone, yeah, your family's all around you, and I was like. No, they mostly live in like Melbourne and Sydney.
Scattered, actually.
They're all over Australia. Yeah. And she's like, no, I can see your parents and your sister. They're around you. And I was like, oh, okay, that's very nice. And I'm always fascinated when I meet like psychics, because like I genuinely want to know, like when someone really believes it. It's not just like a money making thing, whatever. They actually believe it. Like, tell me what convinces you that this is real, because I know what I require to believe in something, that we're in this studio and this is a table and all this kind of stuff. And so I just said, look, I don't want to if I'm prying too much, but I said, when you say that you see my family, like, is it a visual thing? Like, can you actually see them standing behind me now? Is it more you get a sense of it? Are you hearing their voices? What is it? And she was like, oh, it's like a combination of all those things. And she said, I see a woman with red hair. I was like, don't know. There's not. I can't think of one.
Rhonda Birchwood.
Legs 11. Susan Sarandon.
I see a BMX
Julianne Moore in the movie Blind, which was underrated. And I said, oh, look, I don't know. There's no redheads in my family. I said, but that's interesting. And I said, so how...
Maybe hair looks different in the light on the other side.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I said, so how did you... When did you realize you had psychic powers? Expecting, that it'd be like I've had it my whole life. She said, oh, very recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, when did it happen? And she said, oh, when I put down my cat. I was like, oh. Okay. So,
and she means end of life. We're assuming, not just put it down.
It was ill, I believe.
Yeah.
It was ill, yeah. She said, look, this cat was like my child.
Yeah, it wasn't like a sacrifice with the dark devil or something.
I mean,
like,
potentially, I don't know.
But you're thinking more like there was like...
She was a
the
very...
end of the long life of the cat. She wanted a connection with this cat post-death, and she's developed this psychic power to be able to communicate with the other side.
This is the thing, right? Like,
Do cats go to the same other side as humans?
We'll get to that.
Okay,
there's a whole theory of this.
All right. Beautiful.
So she was saying that when she her cat Pat.
She also had a Pat, a tiny little Irishman.
Captain of the Australian cricket team.
Yeah.
When she had to put down her cat, she said that then this is the first time she knew she had psychic powers, is that she, as the cat was passing, as it was...
By the way, have we thought about, as like a children's book to sell during the summer, a character called Cat Pummins? And it's like a cat who plays cricket
for the first 11.
Meow 11. Meow 11.
Can't think of one of the cat fun. Whiskers team.
The Nashes.
We'll come back to you on that one.
Okay, all right. Put a pin in it.
Leg before Whiskers. Okay, anyway. She said as the cat was dying or, passing over, she heard a voice say to her, "Thank you, Mummy."
Oh.
And she said it was the cat.
Oh, yeah.
And I said,
makes sense.
How did you know it was the cat's voice?
Well,
and she said,
obvious.
She said, well, it was obvious because, and she said, I knew it wasn't like I didn't, I said, because what I was saying to her, it's like, how do you know when you get these images in your head, like you see my family or you hear a voice, like,
or some random redhead.
Or some random redhead. Yeah. Like, how do you know that you just haven't thought of that? Like, how can you be so certain that it's
a visitation from the other side?
Exactly.
And not your brain playing a trick on you.
I lie at bed at night thinking about enormous asteroids wiping out the Earth and
that's a
long extinct prehistoric.
I don't think we should bring that into this.
Okay.
Like
help me, I can't sleep.
It's a side issue that you need to deal with, but it doesn't have a lot of relevance to the conversation we're having right now.
And she was like, oh, in this particular instance, she said that she knew it was the cat speaking to her because it wasn't her, because she didn't want the cat to die. She wanted to hang on to the cat. Like this is a real struggle. And she said she wouldn't have said, "Thank you, Mummy," when her cat died. It had to be coming from the cat.
Right.
Okay. Sure. All right. So then her mother passed within the same 12 months of her cat dying. And she said that's when she really, the kind of psychic experiences accelerated.
Yes.
And so...
I mean, this all makes complete sense, because this is the point where, because I would find it hard to believe that there is another side that people can psychically connect with. And most of the evidence that I see of anyone having that doesn't feel much like evidence to me. It feels a lot like trickery and whatever. But I also have a lot of empathy for someone in
Trauma
a situation
response.
where they have lost both a cat and a person who is incredibly close to them and important to them, and they develop for them a connection with being able to like talk to those people or communicate with those people or gain comfort in believing that there is a God or another side or a spirit realm or whatever. I have enormous empathy for why somebody might want to believe that that is true. It doesn't convince me that it is true.
Yes.
But I certainly understand why they might like want to believe that it is.
I am agree 100%. Like, and I don't think this is really any different to being religious.
But are the cats going to the same place as the humans?
Yes. So she said, because this is the thing, right? Like she said, everything has, it wasn't like a soul, but the equivalent of a soul, like a core energy that defines it as what it is. So she believed in believes in past lives as well. And she talked.
And can you be a cat in a past life?
Yes, you can be anything. You can be a worm. You can be a rock, apparently, as well.
Okay,
you can
the
be
rock?
like it.
Can you be the rock? The people's
I am
champion?
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But she said so. There's past lives. We all have past lives, like we just recycle. But then she said there's in between, like I can't remember.
Unless you're on your first life, or are they all? Because I don't think the mathematics would work on that. Like, there's got to be new lives that are still being because at the start there would have only been like
rookie lives.
There'd be the original people,
yeah,
and then there's like do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, because there hasn't always been 6 billion people on the planet.
No, it gets bigger and bigger. So there's got to be new lives coming in all the time, and there's got to be overlaps.
That's a good
people
point.
living longer.
Immigrants from other dimensions.
Exactly.
Bloody immigrants come here taking our lives.
Have you seen the movie Soul, the Pixar movie Soul?
No.
Well, it's all about that. It's all about souls and souls that choose to come into particular bodies or vessels for reasons.
So in Soul, because maybe this is where she got it from, she said there's like an in-between state where souls are not, they're not in their new life yet and they're not in the past life.
Yeah, there is kind of like a limbo world where they're kind of waiting for the right person vessel to body.
Right, because she was telling me about her last past life. So she's had these different past lives. She was like a ballerina in Russia, and then before that she was blah blah blah.
Okay,
but she was saying
all interesting ones.
Yeah, fascinating.
Well,
no royalty though. But she was saying, but then there was a period of time where she was in between lives, and I was like, but does that follow? Like just having a human calendar,
just
like
having a gap year.
Yes, but like how long? Like if you're in this kind of dimension in which time doesn't apply, like it could be any time, right?
It's kind of that is a fun idea. I mean, this might be the movie Soul, so I don't know.
We're pitching you a new Disney film. Soul 2.
That's a fun idea for a movie, like someone who doesn't want to leave the limbo.
Yes,
like that idea of the character, like everyone else.
Why would you?
But why would you want to live?
This is the best. Just hang out. Yeah,
Limbo Larry.
Yeah, totally.
Adam Sandler is Limbo Larry, and it's set in limbo in a place where like Sandler's the guy who never wants to go. It's too hard to be like, what? I want to be like a dog or whatever again. I'm in limbo, mate. This is the best.
I had an idea for a show ages ago about this idea, like Wings of Desire. That Wim Wenders film about angels being on Earth and when you're in despair. They turned into a film with Nicolas Cage called City of Angels. Yeah. And the idea being that like angels, they kind of train up by being on Earth and they do good deeds. And there's like a career ladder that like an angel can climb.
That's right.
But I always thought it'd be great if like Earth was like you're working for the dole. If you're an angel, it's like, well, you're going to get your wing. We're going to make sure you get all the benefits of heaven, but you've got to work for it. So you've got to go on Earth and provide comfort.
Yeah, it's your mission work.
But there might be some angels who are like, fuck going to heaven. That sucks. So we're going to do the bare minimum on Earth. We're going to hang out because Earth's great. It's got rock and roll. It's got alcohol. It's got all this great stuff. It's so much more interesting than heaven. So
this is one of those things where I do know that you're pitching something else that someone else has already done because that is what happens in Good Omens.
Oh, is it really?
that is the main central kind of plot device conceit.
Is that Terry Pratchett?
Yeah, and the other guy that we don't talk about anymore.
Oh, yeah. That guy. Stand straight woman.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, thank you. And so, but yeah, in Good Omens, that's the two main characters are the...
Oh, so they're just hanging out on Earth because it's more
angels
fun.
That want to, like... That don't,
it's also Dogma as well, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's not the most original
But this
idea.
Limbo Larry, Adam Sandler is Limbo Larry.
Is Adam Sandler, is he still doing those kind of movies? Isn't he doing all like, hey, He's doing some film with George Clooney, I saw.
He also
recently.
did Happy Gilmore too, though.
Oh, that's right.
So it just mixes
Well, that's
it up, right?
David Spade needs a paycheck.
Yeah. Well, we can put David Spade in this.
Okay.
You
right.
You don't think Rob Schneider can't be in Limbo, Larry?
Yeah, that's right. There's got to be some kind
This is your absolute
dorky
go-to
bureaucrat who works in Limbo Land,
Yeah.
who's making sure these souls have got somewhere to go to.
Yeah, that's right. Like St. Peter or whatever. And then Limbo Larry's, he's the one who's actually teaching people what the real meaning of blah, blah, blah or whatever.
So I guess with Limbo Larry,
yeah.
because is the idea with past lives that the essence of your personality transfers into whatever, like Quantum Leap-esque.
Oh, yeah. So he was like a slacker on Earth and he's become a slacker in Limbo.
In Limbo.
Yeah.
And does he, because you would never, from what I understand with reincarnation, it's like a ladder, right? You do good, you get better, you have better.
Oh, it's always got to be climbing that ladder.
You've got to be climbing that ladder.
Incarnation.
And that's for suckers. That is for suckers. I'm just going to hang out in Limbo Land.
Yeah, right.
Don't have to worry about.
I'm going to go back to being a worm.
Because otherwise you got to go to Earth, and you've got to go through school again. Got to get a job again.
I don't want to aspire. Everyone wants to aspire to greatness. I don't want to aspire to greatness.
No,
that seems like a real pain in the ass to me.
Just going to hang out in Limbo.
It's good here.
But what do they do in Limbo? But to describe Limbo, what is it?
Well, once a day they play that game Limbo. Where they have to go under
They all limber up in the morning.
Yeah, and then they do a little limbo.
Do a little limbo.
But after that, it's mostly free time, I reckon.
Okay, but is it fun? Is there stuff to do?
It's kind of neutral.
So it's all beige?
Much like when you're on work for the dole.
Okay.
Like you've got all the time, but you don't have a lot of
money
and resources and whatever. So
a lot of bongs.
I think it's probably he's smoking a lot of bongs. It's cloudy anyway, right? I assume it's in the clouds.
I don't know.
Might as well.
I don't know. Limbo's halfway between heaven and hell. So you imagine it would be fairly neutral.
I don't think it's the same Limbo though.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't think it's meant to be like this between heaven and hell. I think it's.
Right. It's a separate holding room, like a waiting room.
It's more symbolic, or it's a different kind of energetic space.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's like where you're going to go back to Earth. I guess you're just there to, get into the next place. But it's like, what if you just been there?
Yeah. Why would you though? If you're Limbo Larry and you just don't
because
life's too hard.
What you see is everybody else is a sucker. They go from the bottom, they work up to the top, and once you get right to the top,
and when does it ever stop?
When does it ever stop?
When does it ever stop?
When do you ever get to a point where you're just I'm quite happy here?
So is he getting medical deferments? Oh, geez, would love to go back to Earth, but
can't.
And he's my shoulder
if
quicks.
Someone dies with weed in their pocket, he's going and getting the weed out of there. But you know what I mean? He's got a whole scam going.
Just immediately offs himself as soon as he gets put on the model plane, so he can go back to Limbo.
Just Limbo.
You're going to go back as a worm. Oh dear.
Yeah, you don't want to be that.
Just walking around as a worm, all the birds.
But this is the problem. You don't want to get too high either because you never know when you're going to get reset, right?
Okay.
So he's reached. Kind of in this world, I imagine, most people keep going, playing the lottery of how high you can get in the reincarnation, right? But the thing about reincarnation you never know is not everyone gets to make it all the way to the top, right? There's always going to be a point where you go from being, let's say you're the fourth best fast bowler in New South Wales, reset back to worm. Right? That might have been the peak of...
That was as far as you got.
As far as you're going. So it's how long do I stay in the game?
Yeah.
Whereas Limbo Larry
if you get to...
has kind of got to a point where he's you know what? I'm just going to be happy here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to aspire to more because aspiring to more only ever leads to you going back to being a worm.
So the challenge for Limbo Larry is to not be so bad that he gets downgraded to worm status, but not be so good that he's elevated to anything with any real responsibility, right? So you know what I mean?
What? Limbo Larry, yes, on Earth wants to keep coming back.
In that same level where no one's going to want anything for him.
You know what? He's worked out that he can stay at the same point in life, he'll reincarnate as himself, therefore be immortal.
Yeah.
But only if he keeps the balance between good and bad acts at the exact same level so that there's never a point where he goes backwards or forwards.
That's right. So it's just got to keep it on an even keel the whole time. But does that mean... inadvertent things.
So if he does a good thing, he has to balance it out with doing like a bad thing.
And how does it work though if it's an inadvertent bad thing? Like, you know.
Well, then sometimes he has to do like a bunch of good work.
How do you
return?
Right,
this is
I
where
guess
the premise of the show and the idea comes in.
You're coming on board, right?
Right?
You've forgotten about good omens now, haven't you? You're like, oh yeah, I like this idea of some cosmic being on Earth and just like enjoying the benefits.
I think we've punched it up. We've come up with our own original idea and we've circled back to it being on Earth.
Yeah, good. I like it.
Yeah.
So there would be, I reckon, each person.
He's a guy. Essentially, Adam Sandler is this guy who's worked out.
There's some cosmic calculator. It's the same way people count calories. Is you count good deeds v bad deeds.
Well, it's kind of your good place versus your bad place, but he wants to be constantly in the neutral place.
Oh, it's a bit like Office Space. You know how like he inadvertently starts getting promoted because he doesn't give a fuck?
Yeah.
It's actually having the opposite effect. So he's got to counterbalance that to keep himself at a level where he's just going to be purely comfortable.
Yes.
But then if that's him, so he's trying to parlay. All right, here's the setup.
Yeah.
It opens in Limbo. And like the guy who runs Limbo is going around and it's like, who's that guy sitting there? Oh, that's Limbo Larry. You know, he won't leave. We're trying to leave. And then the guy who runs Limbo, he's told by his bosses, you got to get him back onto the mortal plane.
Yeah.
And so he has a stern talking to. And so Limbo Larry's like, okay, I'll go back, but I'm going to only go do the bare minimum.
Because Limbo Larry's
put me into the body of the most average.
Larry has found a loophole.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So put me into the body of the most average individual ever. The most useless.
Yeah.
Well, not useless.
No, can't be useless because then you're going backwards.
It's just neutral.
Has to be neutral.
So what occupation would he have? What's the most
if
neutral?
You could have no, like...
Because you wouldn't say unemployed, you could argue...
Could have a negative
connotation.
I'm not judging, but in this universe of like universal,
So what would it be? Like a charity worker, social worker? So
social
you're working,
worker.
but you're not earning an income for it.
Yes, but
helping
you don't
people,
want to be
but
too
not.
Good.
Yes,
you don't want to help people, but not too much.
Yes. So, influencer. Would be the perfect occupation, right? Because it has the appearance of helping people. But then you might be doing negative things.
That's right.
Again, so depending on what you're influencing is.
But this is where the dramatic tension of the thing comes from.
What is
these scenarios in which
the most neutral?
But you need to, I reckon it needs to be something where you can see the harm that you are or are not doing. That needs to be controllable to you. So I think an influencer, that's problematic when it comes to that because you don't know if you're putting something out into the world
that can
how
then
it
be
might
misinterpreted
be interpreted or like republished. So it has to be. It's always the great appeal of that TV show Black Books is that like Dylan Moran's character's universe is in that shop. And all the rules of just that shop and how that shop works is how the universe works. And I think if you were trying to live a neutral life to the world, you would have to make your life pretty small because the minute you start traveling, going on planes, broadcasting, like there are so many like unintended consequences that would flow from those actions that would just be so hard for you to even keep a ledger on whether you need to be in a small place where your footprint is small.
It's a bit like, with time travel film where someone doesn't want the butterfly effect to occur. So it's like, how can I exist in this plane without affecting anything around me?
I feel like a meter reader or something like that.
Someone who just works in the background, inoffensively.
Delivers the mail. Like something that's important, but also you have capacity. Because I think what you want is the capacity to adjust to variables when needed.
Yes.
So, for example, you do something that is, you save a kid who was there was a car, you're doing your post office route.
Yeah.
Like there's a car backing out of a driveway. There's a kid behind the car. You have to, in that scenario, save that kid's life. Because you are, even though you want to be Limbo Larry.
Yeah.
You have like good morals and a good soul, and so you can't help but save that child. But now,
your credit rating,
you've got real risk of being
three credit
which
points.
is not what you want. So now you have to do a series of smaller.
Let your friend drink drive,
right? Exactly, right. But only like 0.07.
That's
like it'd be a series of things
square
that
ups
you can do. Like,
That's the fun premise of it. Is
like,
what is the cosmic square up? Yeah.
Yeah, you can pinch one child or whatever or something,
So what would it be?
Because in return, it gives you comedic, like you have the capacity now that he's saved a child. He needs to like do 3 small acts of meanness to children to offset that are not like cruel, but are like mean. He has to tell a kid that their hat looks dumb or whatever.
Yeah.
That isn't to the same level, but kind of balances.
He lets
out
a kid see a Bluey like mascot without the head on or something like that. Takes him backstage.
Yeah, that's right. That's actually Bluey.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good premise. I like that. Limbo Larry, copyright TOFOP.
Because it's about balance.
Yeah.
The whole idea is about this person who's trying to balance out his life so it's complete. Imagine if you tried to, in a world where everyone has a strong hot take, imagine you had to have a
the mildest of all takes.
Yeah.
Well, that would be interesting too, right? Because you could set up some kind of dramatic kind of pretext where it's like he's desperate not to be noticed. Just say his credit rating is perfectly calibrated, but then he goes to a dinner party or something like that, and someone asks him his opinion on, I don't know, Gaza or something like that, and he's like, oh no, absolutely do not want to be drawn into this.
Yes, that's right.
So how does he navigate can you go through life being absolutely invisible?
Yeah, neutral.
I think some people do, so it is possible.
Anyway, there you go.
There's a premise for no one can take that. That's ours. Copyright. Can you timestamp that?
This is what AI will do in 45 seconds in the future, and it'll have already made the film. The film will be available by the end of the podcast.
Speaking of the opposite of AI.
Oh yeah.
I was showing
Internal
Iona
affairs.
Old school special effects, and I don't know how we got
not
into
so special effects as we call them these days.
like old school prosthetics and stuff like that, and stop motion, and I was just wanting to see like what her reaction is like, this is the clunkiest because
what did she think?
Well, that it was pretty fun. I showed her Monkey Magic,
Uh-huh.
and she loved the song, of course, great song, but she was just like, I think she's a bit baffled. I think she thought it had been made by children because like there's some really kind of clunky special effects in the original Monkey Magic series, like miniature work and all that kind of stuff, and clouds flying around on like fishing line and stuff like that. And she was just, I think she wanted to do was, can we remake Monkey Magic? And I was like, probably could, and better.
Probably.
Now, I mean, it's 50, almost 50 years old now, but it was interesting. Also, the way children's entertainment. I mean, I don't know if Monkey Magic strictly was children's entertainment, but it would have been like family, right?
It was presented to us. We used to watch it. That was for children.
That's right. Okay, so it is children's entertainment. There is so much violence and like there's even like a homophobic slur in one of the episodes. I accidentally pulled up.
There's a homophobic slur in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's true.
Well, so.
But it's not that homophobic slur. It's more of a British one. But it's funny because that would have been like, Monkey Magic is a Japanese show about a Chinese myth that was translated into English. Yeah. So there was 3 chances for someone to go, why don't we just
some homophobia?
Or maybe there was no homophobia and someone's just like,
these Japanese are so homophobic.
Let's just throw the guys doing the English translations like, you know what would go great here,
a little
referring to someone as a footrest.
Is this a typo? Did you mean a puff of smoke?
But yeah, she was fascinated by because when I was a kid, like that's my family. My sisters and I used to play Monkey Magic all the time. We got the sticks and painted them black and the gold tips and everything like that.
That's right, and getting doing the little whistle to get the cloud to. Yeah,
that's the number one thing, is getting the cloud from the sky. But
I mean, it's still a good way to get around. Like being able to summon
a cloud, yes.
Being able to summon a cloud.
Do you still, like when you fly a plane, look at clouds and just marvel at the fact that they're not solid?
No, but again, I'm also not Googling how big is the universe, so
they just look like they should be solid. Like it's just.
What do you mean?
Oh, because they're so fluffy and light. I just would love to roll. I know. Yeah, they should be like fluffy and soft.
I love the idea that there would be real life clouds that were fluffy.
Yeah, like a dream.
I guess that is where your limbo is going to be. This is why,
yeah.
like Limbo Larry originally
there.
never wanted to leave. He was like, these clouds are comfy, man. Have you ever sat in one of these clouds?
Well, also like
they always call like bedding, like, you know, as in like good mattresses, things like microcloud and whatever. So the imagery of like sleeping on a cloud
big soft
is
cloud
clearly part of like. There's something in our brains that makes us think that clouds would be comfortable despite the fact that they would be cold and wet.
I mean, the first people to go up, like the Wright brothers and whoever they took up the first time. The first time...
we don't hear about them so much because they were so wrong.
The first time people broke through clouds.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine how...
So wet and
fucking
cold.
Crazy that must have been, though.
This would be comfortable.
But to be like, imagine like it's a cloudy day, it's great,
what's on the other
and
side.
you bust through, and you're like, oh my god, it's fucking sunshine, and there's lack of oxygen, and I'm passing out. The plane just starts blowing. Like you would be a moment of bliss. We're like, this is amazing.
This is amazing. I can see the universe.
Orville, this is amazing. Why are you unconscious?
Orville. Say something, Orville.
The oxygen gets very thin up here. I don't know. Every time I fly, I'm always like, this is we take it for granted. But like, it's just I feel like I'm having an existential crisis. I'm worried about asteroids hitting us. I'm getting excited over these minor little things. I
think you're just at that age where we realize how small we are.
Yeah.
Like that our lives, that we imagined maybe there was going to be some big imprint on the world or whatever that we were going to make with our lives. And there's probably not.
I'm okay with that, but it's just more like, I guess we're closer to the end than the start now, right?
Totally.
And so it's more just
of the
like
planet, right? You mean
of everything,
of the human race.
It's just everything. Like it just.
I hope that's not true. I hope that actually this is just a.
Well, every generation feels like their generation's got the worse than anyone before, right? When it's
the best that's ever been, and we feel the worst we've ever felt. But
that's
also.
Right.
It is always kind of true that we could kill ourselves, and so it's not unrealistic that each generation has thought that is a possibility because we do have things that are capable of doing it, and human nature is such that we.
Well, the existential threat for our parents is what? Nuclear war, right? And now for us, it's climate change, right?
And also nuclear war still,
and AI. So there's a few more, but is there more, or is there just more exposure to it?
I think they're more effective. Like,
what do you mean?
Well, in the difference between like a terrorist being able to fly a plane into the building, as terrifying as that might be like the matter of like thousands of people being affected, which, by the way, any one person affected, of course, is too many. But like, what if a robot, like, you know, an operating system, or a person with an operating system, a bad faith actor, or just a mistake, could mean that not just one plane dropped out of the air, but every plane that was in the air dropped out of the air at the same time. I mean, in Sydney a few months ago, when people hear this podcast, there was, all around the world, I just happened to be in Sydney the day that it was happening, was that like one version of a plane got grounded all over the world because there was a software update and then they couldn't.
Great.
And so we already live in a world where somebody updates the wrong software or whatever, and like half a like plane fleet all over the world is grounded. Like the idea that you could live in a world in which the power of the nuclear weapons we have, the AI that is weaponized or whatever it might be, its capacity to wreak havoc on a large scale, to develop a biological weapon, for example, that could be used to, you know, like we saw how the world can be shut down by everybody being ill. Imagine if somebody was doing that as a bad faith act and came up with like a bioweapon through using AI and spread it. Am I giving you more reasons to sleep soundly at night?
You know, it's just it's just contributing to the general kind of terror. I mean,
Is it better or worse? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is there compelling reasons to be afraid? I think so, but how much should you be afraid? Because how much can you have an effect on any of the things that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Very little, I'd imagine. Probably, right? In your day-to-day, the spider in your house is more of an issue to you than like the threat of nuclear war or an asteroid hitting the Earth or whatever it might be.
I think the concern is that as we get more and more siloed into our own sort of echo chambers and stuff, because it sort of feels like all these.
I've had an echo chamber installed at the house.
Oh, is it good?
It's great. It's never been better. Never felt healthier. I'm going to live to 160.
It's just like filled with Pat Cummings' face, just like projected on every wall. Work. They're like this collective action that, we could solve climate change if we all just got on board, just think about that. We could end wealth inequality if we just got on board. But
all these things always rely on the idea of us all getting on board.
But
the problem is that we're not always going to all.
And it feels like we're less on board than ever before, right? And
I don't think we've ever been on board. We're just more aware now that even the idea of what on board means is so different for, being on board in China is very different to being on board in Australia.
Yeah, and also, but even within cultures that are similar, in Australia, the difference between classes in terms of if you have a lot of money and what you value and where your priorities lie compared to someone who's more working class is completely different. I watched this video about this economist talking about how we have basically we have people saying there's affordability crisis, wages haven't gone up, people can't own homes. They're right. But you've also got people saying the economy is amazing, the stock market's doing great, and is gone, and they're also right, is gone. But we have an economy now where if you have money, if you own a home, things are pretty good.
It's fine. Yeah.
It's all going fine. But there's so many people who don't own their own home, who don't have money. The fastest way to make $1 million is to have $10 million already in a high interest, long-term savings account.
Yeah.
But he was talking about that after the Second World War in America, when they leaned after the Great Depression into the Second World War, when America leaned more heavily into sort of social policies, safety nets, things like that, and tax rates were at a higher rate for the very wealthy. You had businesses that, rather than pay this enormous amount of tax, were investing more in their employees, and conversely, so wages were higher, loyalty to the company was higher, and because people were getting paid more, they wanted to do greater work. And so you had this quite a balanced system. And GE were like the model company for that in America. And then at some point in the late 60s, or I think coming out of the 70s, after another recession, the CEO of GE was like, well, rather than just making electric products and looking at our staff, we should probably try and minimize spending. So we're going to just cut 10% of the staff every year, regardless of what we're performing. And we're going to use the resources of the company to buy other companies. Yeah. Even though we're an electrics company, it doesn't matter. We'll buy a media company. We'll buy an agri company. I'm sure
we're good at running a media company as well.
Because we're just expanding and it's good for the shareholders. Yeah. And so that went on for years and years and years.
The shareholder value thing, that's the problem, right?
Yeah. And so that guy retired with $400 million while
that's too many
GE collapsed because people who took over was like, what is this company? What is our brand? They don't stand for anything. But then every other CEO was like, that seems like a good model. I'm just going to expand this company.
It's a good model to make $400 million and retire
But
early.
you're seeing it now, right?
Yeah.
Like with just we're turning into RoboCop, where it's like everything is just
the one corporation.
Monopolizing into one big corporation.
Each company is just buying each company until they become the big entertainment company
that can
or the
control
big energy company or whatever.
The cost of everything.
Yes.
So how do we stop that?
Well, I mean, we just couldn't see it coming apart from all the times that we saw it coming.
Like if
only there'd been a warning apart from all the thousands of warnings that this is exactly the direction we were going.
But there's always been, historically, there's there's always been an antidote to that, which is like revolution. People rise up and eat the rich.
Eat the rich. I mean, well, we live in a world now where every year that statistic about the number of how many people own half the stuff in the world gets lower and lower. I mean, it was already in the 20s or whatever, but now it's like even because people get more disproportionately rich the way the system is set up over and over and over again. And it's that classic thing of there just should be, I mean, look, I would argue probably...
Are you back in your echo chamber?
Yeah, hang on. Let me just step back in my echo chamber. But there just should be a cap. There just should be a cap on how much money you can earn. Like, there should be still some incentive over whatever the number is. Whatever we've decided, firstly, there should be a minimum that everybody gets. And once we've got to that, then there's some flexibility about, so say, for example, we decide the minimum is Like, I'm just going to pluck a number, and obviously it would be different worldwide, etc. But let's just say every single person on Earth needs $100,000 a year to live and earn a living, right? There used to be this idea that the boss of the company could only earn, and in some countries this is part of the law, like the boss can only earn, say, 10 times what the
that's right.
lowest employee can earn, or you can only earn a certain amount more once this criteria for everybody else getting to this point, or if you go up to this, everybody else also needs to be able to go up to this. Like these ideas that what the top is tied to what the bottom is, so that if you want to earn more money, there's an incentive for you to bring everybody along with you, rather than what you're talking about, which is cut, diminish service. Your incentive to get rich is investing in other people getting rich, as opposed to your incentive to getting rich. Because I don't think we can take out the incentive to get rich, because I mean, if we're starting the world again and we can convince everybody, yes, maybe. But like, I think we have to understand the world we live in, which is that there are people who live in the world where the incentive for what they do things is to be to get wealthy. And whatever system we put in place, they will still want to be the wealthiest in that system. If we capped it at you can only earn $10 million, they would just want to be the people who have $10 million and always have $10 million. Like it, you know. It does. You don't need 10 billion or 20 billion or whatever it is. Nobody does. It should be at least capped on if you were spending every minute of every day. Like what? Like, you know, there should be some sort of Brewster's Millions style. You have to put it all back into the economy of every blah 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 or whatever. Like some.
If you don't spend it by a certain amount of time, it
goes back to everybody else. Or like. You can have it, but for every.
But how do you distribute it, and who do you trust to distribute that? If that privately earned wealth, if it's going back into social programs, for instance, you have to then trust
the barefoot
that the people.
Investor Scott Pape.
You trust him?
Yeah,
in charge of Australia's
not
redistribution,
Australia,
the world.
We're putting the barefoot investor Scott Pape in charge of the world economy.
Well, that. I mean, to have, especially with AI coming, the idea of like whether it's universal basic income or whatever, some kind of essential protections. That's like, look, there's going to be massive job losses, especially in.
What about like Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett's just retired. He's the most famous investor in the entire world, but also famous for investing in a ethical and equitable and sensible manner, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What if we just were like, let's let Warren Buffett be the
work out where the money goes.
Like where the money goes for a couple of years. Let's put all the money in the middle and let Warren.
What about we let AI redistribute?
We make an AI Warren Buffett.
Redistribute the wealth.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, though. You're going to run. I mean, it's going to be so easy to run interference on this argument, because everyone will be like, "Oh, I'm not giving my money to the government.
Because
the government don't know how to spend money."
But also, all the rich people are the people who own all the media.
Yeah.
Not just the newspapers, but now all the social media sites. So, of course, that's all.
And not only just the social media sites, entertainment sites. Like the messaging is going to be so like uniform soon. Like everything you see is going to be reinforcing a very narrow worldview.
Yeah.
This is. What do we do?
What do we do?
What do we do? I'll just
nothing.
Nothing?
Nah. Just continue to twirl our thumbs while the world burns.
Watch YouTube videos about giant things that scare the shit out.
Eat some biscuits and get on with our lives entertaining people.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it's time for... Oh, James.
Crack that pack.
James, don't cut this in to be on time in post. I want everyone to hear how long it's taking you.
I pressed play, but it didn't play.
Oh, yeah, sure you did. I can see you scrambling, Googling Crack That Pack theme. Has it played? What's going on? We've got no theme?
Oh, look, it's...
don't make Will sing it for a fourth time. Crack That Pack. All right.
Crack that pack.
All right. Now, would you like? Tell me where you want to go here. I'll give you a brief view.
Right.
So
give me a bit.
We've got a classic. There we go. Fucking hell, that is
Crack that pack.
That is Mike the Third levels of delay.
Wow.
Come on, I was off track. We went from IBS to UBI and.
Oh no!
Everywhere in between.
Well done. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, in terms of biscuits, we've got a classic, We've got a grandma style biscuit. We've got one that I think we're going to
grandma,
hate.
I hate.
And then I've got one that I can personally vouch for as being good.
Oh, interesting. Grandma. Let's start with grandma, I reckon.
Walker's shortbread biscuits.
Oh, I'm happy with this.
Walker's shortbread fingers. Now, these I think are
Yep.
are these actually made in Scotland? I think they are. Imported by Botany and Groove, doesn't say.
Do you think that Joseph
Yes, they're made in Scotland. These are genuine Scotch finger biscuits.
Joseph Walker is related to Johnny Walker? Do you think the family of Walkers?
How do you know it's Joseph? Oh, it says Joseph Walker on it. Yeah, maybe. Well,
I mean, there's lots of Walkers, I imagine.
Do you want to just Google James?
Joseph
He's already
Walker
onto it.
and Johnny Walker related to each other?
Well, these are Speyside. So,
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Is Johnny Walker a Speyside whiskey? It says by appointment.
What whiskey?
Speyside, Speyside. There's 4 regions of Scotland where you get your whiskies from.
Yes.
There's a real gold logo on it, and it says, "In appointment to His Majesty the King of Suppliers of Shortbread." Can you read that gold?
Yeah,
Have you got
I'll
your
give it a
glasses?
go. Yeah, sure. I'll put my glasses on. I'll have a little read of what's going on.
What's going on here?
Okay. All right. Oh, by appointment to His Majesty the King, suppliers of shortbread and oat cakes. Walker's shortbread. Yeah, okay. So it's supposed to just basically saying they're the official suppliers to the king.
Oh, so King Charles eats these biscuits.
So these are
Bloody, bloody da.
all right. Okay.
Well, Johnny Walker Black Label apparently is made exclusively from Speyside malts.
Okay. All right. So they could be related. Maybe they're cousins.
Joseph Walker first fired up the ovens of our family's Scottish Highland bakery in 1898 with a desire to bake the best.
Oh, yeah.
5 generations of family bakers later, people the world over enjoy our exceptional baking. We hold true to Joseph's recipe. Now, it's a pretty good recipe here that Joseph's put together.
Yep.
It's got 4 ingredients. Do you think you can name them?
Flour,
Yep.
butter,
Yep.
sugar,
Yep.
whiskey.
And feta. And salt.
Starch.
Of
Oh.
course. Why? Because there are no shortcuts to showcasing Scotland at its finest.
Now, this shortbread, in Scotland, it's quite acceptable to have a dram of whiskey and a shortbread, and you dip it in the whiskey and eat it.
Interesting.
We don't have the whiskey because that would be... I don't know. Can we allowed to drink on this show? We would be allowed to drink, can we? We're both adults.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
maybe?
I don't want to drink a whiskey. We're recording in the morning right now. Will's eating his. I can already tell just from holding this and feeling it, the texture in my fingertips, this is going to be a good shortbread. Because the problem with shortbreads in Australia or where they're made is they're not buttery enough. But I can feel this just from the crispiness of it, that it's got a lot of fat in it, which means the biscuit is very, very crumbly. Now I'm going to take a bite while Will gives his thoughts.
I love a shortbread. So this is right up my alley. I've eaten a lot of shortbreads in my life. I think this one's pretty good. I'm not going to say it's not in my top tier. Like if I wasn't a huge shortbread eater, I think you'd be very impressed by that. You'd be like, if you were in Scotland, you don't normally have a shortbread.
If that was in your hotel.
And you've got and you'd just be like, oh, this is pretty nice.
I agree.
But I don't think it's in that of shortbreads that I've had, like that kind of top echelon. It doesn't, there's just a few elements of it that kind of make it slightly under that for me.
I agree. It's actually not dissimilar to the Scotch finger. I think.
Yeah, it feels like an elevated, but not elevated enough Scotch finger.
It's not. Yeah, I reckon that is a. I reckon it's a B for me. It's just a bit underwhelming. It didn't have the butteriness. Feeling it, I was like, oh, it's going to be really buttery and sort of delicious. But it's actually I don't know what the word is. It's just a bit whatever. It doesn't have a very distinct flavour.
It doesn't taste as upmarket as you imagine that it's going to taste.
I mean, shortbread for the king. official suppliers of the king.
You know what I'm getting out of this, Charlie?
What?
That King Charles is a basic bitch.
He is a
because
basic
this is it's a bit of a basic bitch shortbread. Not to say that it's bad, because it's not bad. And I've eaten most of mine, and I will eat the rest of it when
the
we're done.
microphones are off. But this does have the feeling.
I'm going to say, a B. Maybe a B.
This feels like visiting your grandparents.
Yeah.
She brings out a cup of tea.
You'd be very happy with it if your
all
grandparents. Right. But I'd be like, Nan, why did you stop making the homemade shortbread?
Yeah. Listen up, Grandma. This is your final warning.
You're not my grandma.
Maybe that's the reason they dip it in the whiskey.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
Yeah, true.
That's actually a good point. Maybe
it does have a consistency that would be good for dipping.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit.
I mean, actually, it got me thinking about what that would be like in a whiskey. I think it'd be really good in a whiskey.
Yeah.
But compared to the shortbreads I've had in Scotland, that's not one of the best ones. But I think I'm happy to give that a solid B.
Yeah, I'll give it a B as well.
All right. Okay. Will, you're doing bloody.
I'm doing comedy. There may be tickets available. I don't know. Comedy.com.au is the place to go to find those tickets if there are tickets available.
There's links in the episode description. Of course, the best way to support the show is still Patreon. We put up full episodes of this show a month early. You get early episodes. You get ad-free episodes. A lot of incentive to come join. And also, there's just years and years of TOFOP and Two Guys, One Cup and other related content on the site.
Yeah, there's so much stuff there.
Worth checking out. But we'll be back again next week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.
And we are going to eat.
I am going to eat the rest of it. Yeah.
Everyone relax!